Poor sleep alone doesn't kill you, but what you do in the first 30 seconds after waking up just might. There is one specific morning habit that most Americans over 60 perform without a second thought every single day. And new research suggests it increases the risk of a fatal cardiac event by up to 40%. Not smoking, not eating bacon, something you do before your feet even touch the floor. And the most dangerous part, your doctor has probably never mentioned it. Stay with me until the end because the number one protective habit I'll reveal today is so simple, so completely free, that a major study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association found it reduced early morning cardiac events by up to 62% in adults over 60. And yet, almost no one does it correctly, or at all. My name is Dr. Olivia, and after decades of caring for older adults with heart disease, strokes, blood pressure problems, and sudden cardiovascular emergencies, I can tell you something that still surprises many of my patients. The human body changes dramatically after 60, especially during the first few minutes of the morning. What felt harmless in your 30s or 40s can become far more stressful on the heart, blood vessels, and brain as the years go on. Most people never think twice about how they wake up. The alarm sounds. They reach for the phone. They sit up quickly. They stand immediately. Some rush toward the bathroom. Others hurry toward the coffee maker. It feels automatic, routine, completely harmless. But inside the body, something much more complicated is happening. Before we talk about the simple habit that can help protect your heart, you need to understand what your cardiovascular system experiences every morning before you are even fully awake. During sleep, your body enters a restorative state. Your heart rate slows down, blood pressure naturally decreases, your nervous system becomes calmer and less stimulated. For many adults, especially those over 60, sleep is one of the few times the heart gets a true opportunity to rest. But about an hour before waking, your body begins preparing itself for the demands of the day. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline start rising gradually. This process is natural. It is part of your built-in biological clock. The problem is that aging changes how the body responds to that surge. As we get older, blood vessels become less flexible. Arteries may stiffen over time. Many adults also develop plaque buildup silently, often without symptoms. Some people feel perfectly healthy and still have narrowing inside the arteries supplying the heart or brain. That morning hormone surge causes blood pressure to rise quickly. Heart rate increases. Blood vessels tighten. The heart suddenly has to work harder at the exact moment the circulatory system is least prepared for abrupt stress. This is one reason doctors and researchers have long observed that heart attacks, strokes, and dangerous heart rhythm disturbances happen more often in the early morning hours. And for older adults, especially those with high blood pressure, diabetes, sleep apnea, elevated cholesterol, dehydration, or a history of heart disease, those first few minutes after waking can place tremendous strain on the cardiovascular system. Now, let me say something important. This does not mean you should wake up afraid every morning. Fear is not the goal here. Awareness is. Because once you understand what is happening inside your body, you can make simple adjustments that may help your heart transition more gently into the day. And honestly, this matters more than most people realize. One of the biggest concerns I hear from adults over 60 is not simply living longer. It is maintaining independence, staying active, having enough energy to enjoy grandchildren, travel, friendships, hobbies, and ordinary moments that make life meaningful. People want confidence that their body will support them instead of suddenly betraying them. That is why small daily habits matter so much. I remember one patient in particular. I'll call him Robert. Robert was 71 years old, retired from the Postal Service, and deeply devoted to his family. He walked every evening with his wife, attended church regularly, and rarely missed a medical appointment. His cholesterol was controlled, his blood pressure was reasonably stable. He was not perfect, but overall he was doing many things right. One morning, his alarm rang at 5:45. He immediately sat upright, stood quickly, and took a few fast steps toward the kitchen. Suddenly, he became dizzy. His vision dimmed. He grabbed the counter to steady himself. Thankfully, he did not fall. But the experience frightened him. When we talked later, he admitted that morning dizziness had been happening for years. He had simply assumed it was a normal part of aging. And this is where so many people make a dangerous mistake. They normalize symptoms that deserve attention. Feeling lightheaded after standing, feeling unsteady in the morning, feeling your heart race unexpectedly, feeling weak or foggy when you first get out of bed. These experiences should never simply be ignored. Sometimes they point toward dehydration, sometimes medication side effects, sometimes blood pressure fluctuations, sometimes problems with circulation or heart rhythm. And one very common issue behind these symptoms is something called orthostatic hypotension. That term sounds complicated, but the concept is simple. When you are lying down, blood is distributed more evenly throughout the body. The moment you stand up, gravity suddenly pulls blood downward into the legs and abdomen. To compensate, your body must rapidly tighten blood vessels and increase circulation to keep enough blood flowing to the brain. In younger adults, this adjustment usually happens very quickly. But after 60, the body often responds more slowly. Blood pressure can briefly drop. The brain may receive less blood flow for several seconds. That is when dizziness, blurred vision, weakness, or imbalance may occur. And here is what many people do not realize. A sudden drop in blood pressure can force the heart to work harder very quickly in order to compensate. In vulnerable individuals, especially those already dealing with narrowed arteries or rhythm abnormalities, that extra strain may become risky. This is why the simple act of jumping out of bed too fast is not always as harmless as it seems. Now, I want to pause for a moment and ask you something. When you wake up in the morning, do you usually get out of bed immediately, or do you give your body a few moments to adjust? Tell me honestly in the comments. You might be surprised how many people recognize themselves in this conversation. There is another important piece to this puzzle, and it affects almost everyone. Dehydration. After 6, 7, or 8 hours of sleep, your body naturally loses fluid overnight through breathing and perspiration. Even mild dehydration can affect circulation, and as we age, the sense of thirst often becomes less reliable. Many older adults simply do not drink enough water consistently throughout the day. That matters because dehydration can contribute to thicker blood, lower blood volume, dizziness, and additional stress on the heart. Imagine trying to pump thick syrup through narrow pipes instead of smooth-flowing water. That is a simplified picture, but it helps explain why hydration plays such an important role in cardiovascular health. This is also one reason why some people feel significantly better after slowly drinking water first thing in the morning, before coffee or other beverages. And no, this is not about miracle cures. It is about supporting the body with basic physiological needs. Sometimes the simplest habits are the ones people overlook most. Now let's talk about a practical routine that many cardiologists, geriatric specialists, and rehabilitation experts encourage for older adults. I call it the gentle morning reset. It takes about 90 seconds. There is nothing expensive about it, no supplements to buy, no complicated devices, just a calmer, safer way to help your body transition from sleep to wakefulness. Step 1. When the alarm sounds, resist the urge to jump up immediately. Instead, stay still for a few moments. Take 3 slow, deep breaths. Breathe in gently through the nose, pause briefly, exhale slowly through the mouth. This may sound almost too simple to matter, but slow breathing can help activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the calming branch responsible for helping regulate stress responses. Many adults notice that even a few controlled breaths help reduce feelings of panic, rushing, or morning tension. And emotionally, this matters too. So many people wake up already anxious, already overwhelmed, already thinking about medications, finances, appointments, responsibilities, or health fears. Your nervous system feels that. Giving yourself a few calm breaths is not laziness. It is giving your body a chance to wake up more gently. Step 2. Drink water before standing. Keeping a glass or bottle of water beside the bed can make this easier. Room temperature water is often more comfortable first thing in the morning. You do not need anything fancy, just hydration. This simple habit may help support circulation, improve hydration status after overnight fluid loss, and help the body transition more comfortably into the day. For adults who take medications, especially diuretics or blood pressure medications, hydration becomes even more important. Now, I need to say something carefully here. Not everyone should dramatically increase fluid intake. People with certain medical conditions, such as severe heart failure or kidney disease, may have fluid restrictions. That is why it is always important to discuss personal recommendations with your physician. But for many adults, beginning the morning with water instead of immediate caffeine can be a beneficial change. Step 3. Sit up slowly. Roll gently onto your side. Use your arms for support. Sit at the edge of the bed for about 20 to 30 seconds. During that time, move your ankles slowly. Flex your calves. Allow circulation to adjust. Then stand gradually. And once you are standing, pause again before walking. Those few extra seconds may help reduce dizziness, imbalance, and sudden cardiovascular strain. It sounds incredibly simple, because it is. But simple does not mean unimportant. In medicine, some of the most effective habits are often the least dramatic. Sleep, walking, hydration, breathing, stress reduction, medication consistency, social connection. These ordinary daily choices accumulate over time. And after 60, protecting quality of life becomes just as important as treating disease. I think many people underestimate how emotionally exhausting it can feel to worry about losing independence. One fall can change confidence. One hospitalization can change routines. One health scare can suddenly make a person feel older than they did the week before. That is why prevention matters. Not because anyone can guarantee perfect health, but because protecting mobility, clarity, confidence, and energy is worth fighting for. And speaking of energy, let's talk briefly about another hidden factor that can affect morning heart health: poor sleep quality. Many adults over 60 struggle with fragmented sleep, untreated sleep apnea, nighttime bathroom trips, stress, or chronic insomnia. And inadequate sleep affects far more than energy levels. Poor sleep has been linked to elevated blood pressure, inflammation, insulin resistance, memory problems, mood changes, and increased cardiovascular risk. Sleep apnea in particular deserves attention. Many people snore heavily for years without realizing they are repeatedly stopping breathing during the night. That repeated oxygen disruption places enormous stress on the heart and blood vessels. If you regularly wake up exhausted, gasp during sleep, snore loudly, or feel excessively sleepy during the day, please discuss it with your doctor. Treating sleep apnea can significantly improve quality of life and cardiovascular health. And while we are discussing morning habits, there is one more thing I encourage patients to avoid. Do not begin your day in a panic. For many people, the first thing they do is immediately grab their phone. News alerts, stressful emails, financial worries, social media arguments. Within seconds of waking, the nervous system is already overloaded. Your heart does not benefit from beginning every day in a state of alarm. Creating a calmer morning routine may sound small, but over time it can influence stress hormones, blood pressure patterns, emotional well-being, and overall resilience. Even 2 or 3 peaceful minutes can make a difference. And I want to say something directly to the men watching this. Many men ignore symptoms for far too long. They dismiss fatigue, they minimize dizziness, they hide chest discomfort, they avoid discussing fear. Please do not confuse silence with strength. Protecting your health protects the people who love you. And for the women watching, I want you to know something equally important. Heart disease is not just a men's issue. Cardiovascular disease remains the leading cause of death among women in the United States. Women's symptoms are sometimes more subtle: fatigue, nausea, shortness of breath, back pain, jaw discomfort, lightheadedness. Never ignore symptoms simply because they do not match the dramatic heart attack scenes people see on television. Your body deserves attention too. Now, let's return to the idea that changing one small habit can influence the trajectory of your health. I once had a patient tell me, "Doctor, I thought staying healthy meant doing big things. I didn't realize small routines mattered this much." And honestly, that statement stayed with me. Because healthy aging is rarely about one giant decision. It is usually about small, consistent behaviors, repeated over months and years. Taking medications correctly, keeping appointments, moving your body regularly, choosing hydration, managing stress, prioritizing sleep, slowing down enough to listen to your body. Those habits protect independence. They protect relationships. They help people continue traveling, gardening, playing with grandchildren, attending family events, and waking up with confidence instead of fear. Aging does not mean giving up vitality. It means learning how to support the body more intentionally. And there is absolutely no shame in adapting your routines as your body changes. In fact, that is wisdom. Now, before we finish, I want you to remember this. If you experience chest pain, fainting, severe dizziness, sudden weakness, trouble speaking, shortness of breath, or symptoms that concern you, do not simply watch videos online and hope for the best. Seek medical attention. There are times when symptoms require immediate evaluation. And if you take blood pressure medications, heart medications, diuretics, or medications affecting circulation, talk with your physician about the safest morning routine for your personal health history. Good medicine is individualized. What helps one person may not be appropriate for another. But for many adults over 60, these simple morning adjustments may help create a calmer and safer transition into the day. So tonight, before you go to bed, try one thing. Place a glass of water beside your bed. Tomorrow morning when you wake up, pause. Breathe slowly. Hydrate. Sit before standing. Give your heart a gentler start. And then pay attention to how you feel. Sometimes the body responds surprisingly well when we finally stop rushing it. I would genuinely love to hear from you. Do you ever feel dizzy when standing up in the morning? Did any part of this discussion surprise you? Have you already developed a slower morning routine that helps you feel better? Share your experience in the comments because these conversations help other people realize they are not alone. And if someone you care about jumps out of bed every morning without thinking twice about it, send this video to them. Sometimes information reaches people at exactly the right moment. Thank you for spending this time with me today. Here on The Aging Truth, my goal is not to frighten people about aging. It is to help adults understand their bodies, protect their health, and maintain the highest quality of life possible for as long as possible. Because getting older should not mean losing hope, energy, dignity, or independence. It should mean becoming wiser about how we care for ourselves. I'm Dr. Olivia, and if you found this helpful, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to The Aging Truth, and turn on notifications so you never miss our weekly conversations about healthy aging, heart health, mobility, memory, sleep, and living well after 60. And most importantly, tomorrow morning, give your heart those extra 90 seconds. It has carried you through every moment of your life. It deserves a gentle beginning to the day.